channel, Diamond Painting with Anxiety. I'm Karen. So today is a coffee with Karen whip and chat. So one's going to be all about my vacation that I took a month ago. It's been a while, but that's what we're going to talk about today. And so I wanted to show you the coffee cup that I got from a friend as a gift when I was in Washington. Here it is. Oh my gosh. I can't even get it all into the frame. It's too close. So this thing is massive. Let me see if I can zoom out just a little bit. Maybe look away. It might move. Let's see if I zoom out. There we go. Okay. All right. So there's my coffee cup. I got this from a friend when I was visiting her house in Washington. It actually says, I got this from, what does it say? I got this from my favorite kid. She got this from one of her kids for Mother's Day. This thing is massive, you guys. Okay, look. Look. Here's a coffee cup. Here's a regular sized coffee cup. This thing's massive. So I was visiting her and she brought me my coffee in this and we kind of giggled and she said, I want you to take that home with you. And I thought she was joking. I mean, it says, I got this from my favorite kid. And she said, oh, I got it from one of the girls for Mother's Day. So I thought she was joking. And so I drank my coffee out of this massive thing. I mean, it's heavy. And when I was ready to go, she started washing the mug and she goes, don't forget to take your mug. And I'm like, you want me to take the mug? She's like, yeah, I don't have room for it. Oh my gosh. So I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? First of all, I didn't get it from one of my kids. I'm wondering if maybe I can put something over it so it doesn't say that. Like, could I somehow cross this out and put Bestie down here or something? I don't know. So I brought this home and actually what I did is I put it near my Keurig coffee station thing that I've got set up, and I keep my Keurig coffee pods inside it. Some of them. It holds a lot, believe me. It would hold a lot of coffee. I mean, this might hold, I would say this would hold at least half a pot, maybe a whole pot of coffee. This thing's huge. So this will be the one and only time I drink out of this mug, but of course I'm gonna. So without further ado, why don't you grab yourself a nice drink, cup of coffee, whatever you'd like, and let's do some diamond painting. We'll drop some drills, hopefully on our canvases. I'm so blown away by this coffee cup. Hopefully we'll drop some drills, hopefully on our canvases and not on the floor, but it's me, so you never know what's going to happen. Look what can you see that? That's what one cup of coffee looks like inside that. Yeah, that would hold, I don't know, at least 6 or 7 cups of coffee. I should test that out, but anyway. Yeah, this is definitely two-handed. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be working on today. It's my Dreamer Designs Reverie. I'll talk to you about that for a few minutes. I just put up a update video on this. It's really beautiful. Some of the symbols are kind of blurry and hard to see, especially the greens. The greens are really tough, especially the light greens. I find that I have to work on this without a light pad, but it's turning out absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm having fun with it and kind of frustrated and tearing my hair out all at the same time. I'm probably about 3/4 of the way done with this. Really excited to get it finished and do another piece. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one when it's finished, but we'll see. I don't know. I may end up donating it. It's really beautiful. I'm glad that I experienced this. This is the painting that I have done in the entire time of my diamond painting, this one has the most confetti. So I don't know, it just is what it is. It's going to be beautiful when it's completed. It's a little bit of a challenge, but it's been a good learning experience. So I'm going to stand up here and try and zoom you back in so that you can see the area I'm drilling on. Down towards the bottom of this where the flowers are, I don't know if, let's see, you can see maybe just a tiny bit of this right in here, but this is like confetti nightmare. Up here in the sky, it's a little bit more color blocking, so I saved this area for my Coffee with Karen whip and chat so that it would just be a little bit easier. I really have to focus on getting all this confetti in. So we'll work on a area up here where there's some nice color blocking, and we'll just see what we can get accomplished. So hang on. I'm going to try and zoom you back in. Let's see. Where's my hands? Oh yeah, that should be pretty good. We'll stay right there. Okay, so the color I'm working with right now is 3607. It's the, let's see, it's the diamond shaped symbol, and it's a beautiful, beautiful bright pink, and there's a stowaway in there, but you know, another thing that I am notorious for is getting my drills kind of mixed up. With this particular painting, I am a little bit worried about running out of drills. I already feel like I may not have enough to finish. I feel like with these Dreamer Design paintings that they maybe cut it a little bit close. I don't know. We'll see by the time I'm finished. Again, because this painting's been a bit of a challenge for me, I sometimes have mixed my drills up and had to sort them out, and I've got some that still aren't sorted, and I'm kind of sorting as I go. So, you know, it's me. I do all kinds of crazy things. I drop drills and I mix them up, and I don't know. So I've been really, really careful about any stray drills like this one. I am putting them in a tray of extra spare drills just in case I do run out at the end. And oops, I bumped the table. Just in case I do run out at the end and I need to fish those back out. So hasn't been a whole lot of trash. There's been some kind of strange looking trash. I'll show you guys all of that when we do the final review of this painting, my final thoughts. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I just enjoy diamond painting. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm always willing to work on paintings that are a little bit of a challenge. Sometimes I think the more challenging they are, the better it keeps my mind busy, and that's where the therapeutic value of this craft comes into play for me. So that's enough about that. Let's talk about my vacation that happened over a month ago. So I had a really, really wonderful time. There were a lot of moments in this trip that we took as a family that were incredibly significant. We went to Washington to visit my son and his wife and 3 kids. We went up en masse. It was my daughter Sarah, her 3 kids, my son-in-law, and myself and Wyatt, my 14-year-old grandson that lives with me. We all flew up there to go to my son Andrew's house. He had just been restationed from Fort Bragg I think it was Fort Bragg. He's been stationed so many different places I get confused. Fort Bragg in, no, maybe it wasn't Fort Bragg. Is Fort Bragg in Alabama? I can't remember now. Anyway, he had been stationed in Alabama, and they just got restationed in our home state of Washington. They bought a house, and my daughter-in-law Kendall has followed him all over the country, of course. I think they've been at a total of 5 different duty stations since he's been in the military. And I think my son is planning on being, retiring from the military, but she did tell him that this was it. She wasn't moving again, that they were going to buy a house, and if he got stationed elsewhere, that he would have to do that without her. So, which sounds kind of odd, but they're probably a family and a couple that can, could handle something like that. So, he's got a particular MOS that it's pretty likely that his next duty station might be Korea, which he would not be able to take them with him anyway. So, and I think he's got like maybe 6 more years. So the odds are everything's going to work out okay. If he did go to Korea, he would probably come back to Washington and be stationed there when he got back. So it's likely going to be okay. So, but we went up to see them, and it was absolutely awesome. It was the first time ever that all 5 of my grandkids were together, because the last time we had them all together was about 4 years ago, and Gabe, the youngest, had not been born yet. So it was a really significant trip. My trip didn't start out too well. You guys will not believe what I did, or maybe you will, because it's me. Before my vacation, I went and took advantage of the fantastic sales that were going on at Ross, and bought myself all new summer clothes to be able to take up to Washington with me, and came home, cleaned out my closet, kind of the one in, one out thing, sort of thing. Packed my bags, and I was really excited to, have new stuff to wear up there for my vacation. This was a much longer vacation than I normally go on. It was 9 days. So, I had to have plenty of stuff with me. Had my suitcase all packed, had created a 4th of July diamond painting for my daughter-in-law, had that in there, had some, had a couple of real small snap projects in my bag that I was going to work on when I got up there. Had ordered on Amazon a battery operated light pad to be able to work on projects up there, and had that shipped to Washington to my son's house, along with some diamond painting purses and projects for the kids. So I was really excited to be able to, do that with them. And I knew that even though, this was the first time the family had been together in a long time, we were going to be there for 9 days, and with quarantine and, everything either kind of shut down or on limited hours in Washington, I knew that there was going to be a lot of downtime. So I wanted to be able to keep myself busy. So we went to my daughter's, Wyatt and I, the night before we were going to fly, spent the night there, got up real early the next morning, because I think our flight left at 10. So we were going to leave for the airport at 8, fed all the kids breakfast, got everything and everybody ready. At one point I looked at my daughter and I said, we need to load my suitcase. My suitcase is the only one that hasn't been loaded. And she said, our car's full, with, as many of us were going, we needed to take 2 cars. So her mother-in-law was showing up to, drive one of the vehicles with some of us in there. And so my daughter, Sarah, said, we're going to put your stuff in Sue's car. I don't know. Maybe you guys can already kind of guess where this might be going. So Sue showed up, and I was helping strap kids into car seats and, make sure everybody had their carry-on bag, make sure I had my carry-on bag. And away we went to the airport. And just as we were pulling up to the curbside, I thought to myself, oh my God, I didn't put my suitcase in the car. I hope someone else did. So I get out of the car. His mother-in-law, or James's mom, my daughter's mother-in-law, opened the back of her vehicle and my suitcase was not in it. So I looked at Sarah and said, I forgot my suitcase. And my daughter kind of sort of immediately panicked. I was about to cry. I knew that there was not time to go back and get it. So I just went inside immediately. I just walked in there super quick so that I could kind of pull myself together because I was literally about to bawl. Not so much even about the clothes because, you know, my instant thought was I can, you know, just, I don't know, go purchase something once I get there. But it was the stuff that I had packed, like the diamond paintings, some gifts for the grandkids, some gifts for Andy and Kendall. That was the kind of stuff that I was going to be disappointed didn't make it. I had put my medications and, you know, personal care products and stuff in my carry-on bag. I always do that, thank God. So that wasn't really a huge issue, but, you know, I just knew that this was going to be, you know, a bit of a hassle. So, I went inside, kind of pulled myself together, and it was just kind of like, oh, well, what am I going to do? So we got on the airplane and went up there. What I did end up doing is that we got up there early in the day, which was nice. I like to arrive early in the day. So we got up there, and I ran to Walmart with my daughter, and we, you know, because like I said, I had just bought all these new summer things. So we shopped the clearance racks and, you know, just picked up enough stuff for me to be able to have some changes of clothes while I was up there, and it was fine. I was, you know, disappointed that I didn't have anything to diamond paint, other than the purses and little projects I had sent up there for the kids. I didn't have anything to work on myself. So I did go onto Amazon and found a painting on there that I could order and have shipped. I think it was 2-day shipping or something on Amazon Prime. So I did that. That didn't turn out so well either, though. I got about, I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the way through that diamond painting after it arrived, and had left it sitting on the dining room table while everybody was gone, and I went upstairs to take a bath, and my son's dogs got into it and chewed it all up. So I ended up throwing that in the trash. So that was kind of how my diamond painting experience went while I was gone. I was able to complete one of the little clutch purse projects with my 7-year-old granddaughter, Olivia. She really enjoyed that. It was a good bonding experience for us. So that turned out well. I did a video on that, showing off her completed project. She really loved diamond painting. I would like to send her some more diamond paintings, but without me there to kind of, you know, set that up and sort of supervise her working on them, I don't think it would necessarily be the best idea. So I'll probably wait until the next time I go up, and I'll get her another diamond painting then. Hopefully I'll be able to go up around the holidays. So that was my diamond painting and clothes experience when I got up there. Like I said, it was a really good family vacation. Ironically, it kind of happened by accident, but my daughter-in-law, Kendall, her family had said had sent her pretty much the same text that my daughter sent them, and it said, you know, we want to come visit. We want to come up in June, and you know, of course, to us and to her mom, Kendall had said, okay, great. And then, without anybody really discussing it with her, everybody bought tickets, and they bought them for the same day that we did. So as it turned out, it was not only the same day we got there, her mom and her brother and her 2-year-old nephew arrived the same day. So we were all up there on family vacation. It was really awesome. I mean, it wasn't a problem other than there were just a lot of people there and a lot of stuff going on. But we are, you know, pretty close with her side of the family. I just love her mom to death. We had not spent much time with her brother, and had not spent any time, of course, with her 2-year-old nephew, but we really enjoyed them as well. So it ended up being a really good vacation, you know, with the whole family. They got there the same day we did. They did leave sooner. They left on, all of us arrived on a Monday, and they left on Sunday, and we stayed until the following Tuesday. So we, you know, we did get a few days there with them by ourselves, but it was an awesome family time. There was, you know, the beautiful backyard with the fire pit. So we had, you know, outdoor fires pretty much every night. The kids did s'mores several times, not every night, because, you know, kids and sugar. But we would sit by the fire and, you know, just, oh, I'm way out of frame. We would sit by the fire and, you know, spend time together, and, you know, it was awesome. So we really enjoyed it. Kids made s'mores. They had, as soon as they moved in, they purchased a really large trampoline, huge, massive thing for the kids. So most of the vacation, or a lot of it, those kids were on that trampoline just having the time of their lives. And it was big enough that they could all be on there. There could be several adults on there with them, and everybody just having a great time. So that was really awesome. So there was lots of really, I don't know, just important family stuff kind of that went on while we were up there too. First of all, when Sarah had said to me, we want to go see Andy and Kendall in June, and you and Wyatt should come with us. Of course, I was, you know, all over that. The opportunity to have all my grandkids together for the first time in 4 years, and all of them for the first time ever, was something that, of course, I was not going to pass up. So I was all about it. But I had said to Sarah when we very first started talking about it, I said, if nothing else happens, I want to get family photos. And she definitely agreed. She said, well, it might be hard, though, to find somebody to do this with the whole COVID-19 thing. And I said, well, I know someone in Washington that just might do it for us. So I contacted that person on Facebook, and she said she would be more than happy to meet us at an outdoor location and do some family photos. And she felt, you know, pretty confident that we could do that in a, you know, safe way, with, you know, masks when we were close together. And, you know, she was able to stay, you know, 6 feet away and get wonderful photos. So she said she would be willing to do that. So I got her and Sarah hooked up so that they could do all of the planning. And at one point I said to Sarah that I had realized in the time leading up to this trip that it was going to be the first time that all my kids and grandkids were together, and then I thought to myself, no, it's not the first time all my kids and grandkids are together. That actually will never happen, because of course Naomi, my 27-year-old daughter, died of an overdose 7 years ago. So that can never be a thing. It can never happen. So my daughter, she's got, we all have kind of dark sense of humor. And that's one of the ways we have dealt with our family's grief is, and I've said this to friends and family before, but humor has been as important a part of our healing and our grieving process as tears have been, and a huge part of our healing. So my daughter, when I said that, she kind of looked at me and she said, I know. And Sarah's really good at acknowledging my grief in such a way that she gives it importance, which is important to me, and she just allows it to be what it is. So Sarah went online and bought a pillow, and the pillow has Naomi's face on it. So she told me when she got it, she sent me a picture and she said, Mom, we're going to be able to take Naomi with us. We'll take her this pillow. And I'm like, oh, well, that's really cool. I'm like, we could do some really funny photos with Naomi's picture in random places. And we had planned to do that. And I think a couple got taken, but we really didn't. I did keep that pillow in my room the entire vacation, and it was pretty special. But hang on just a second, and I'll show you the Naomi pillow, if I can get to it. I wasn't really necessarily planning on doing this, but I might as well. Maybe I can't. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a photo at the end. In fact, if you're watching this at the end, I'll post some of the family photos, because we did end up getting our family photos taken. There was a lot of really important moments that were caught, as far as I'm concerned. When Sarah planned this photo shoot, the other thing that she wanted to do is she wanted to get photos with her dad and stepmom. And of course I was absolutely fine with that. So they were going to be at the photo shoot. At first we thought we would kind of try and split it up or whatever, because the relationship between the stepmom and I has not been real positive, in that she's really over the years kind of said a lot of cruel things about me to the kids. She's never, said or done anything to me, but prior to last year at my son's wedding, her and I had never been in the same room at the same time. We'd never even met. So, I'm a really laid back, live and let live kind of person. So, if she wants to say mean, rude things, she's just going to damage her relationship with her relationship with the kids. So, that's on her. I don't let it, well, I can't say I don't let it bother me. Sometimes it kind of hurts my feelings, but, I don't react. It's just like, whatever. So we were going to try and keep us apart, but then in the end we didn't. They were there, photos were being taken with them and the kids, me and the kids. them and the grandkids, me and the grandkids, and then the photographer wanted to take one big group photo of all of us. So we did that. And it actually ended up, I think, being one of my favorite photos. And I have every intention of printing that photo that has my ex-husband and his wife in it and hanging it on my wall. Because, I mean, like I said, I'm really live and let live. And even though, you know, the relationship with her and I has always been very adversarial because of, you know, her behavior. And at times it's been very difficult between her and the kids as well because of that, but, and other things, you know, but that's her issue. As far as I'm concerned, Sarah said it best when I told her that was probably one of my favorite photos and I was going to have it printed. And, you know, I was going to have a picture of my ex-husband's new wife and my ex-husband hanging on the wall in my home. And Sarah said it best. She said, you know, there's no reason not to, because now she's part of the family story. And that's absolutely true. She's a part of the family. You know, and my grandkids love her, and I want them to love her. She's very good to them, so, you know, she's better to them than she was to the kids at some points. But I think that's wonderful. My grandkids need as many people in their lives to love them as possible, so I don't have a problem with that. So I will definitely put that photo at the end. You know, and it's just awesome. It's just awesome. So that was really cool. The young woman that took the photos for me was someone whose mother and I were very close at one point in our lives. It was actually when when the two of us, her mother and I, were brand new in sobriety. We had our sobriety dates in the same month. And at one point, her daughter was, you know, on substances, and she worked for me, and, you know, her daughter's now in recovery. And unfortunately, my friend passed away about, I want to say about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe longer, maybe 10 years ago. So that when I saw this young woman that did the photography for us, you know, she misses her mom. She knows that at one point I was a big part of her mom's life. Her mom was a big part of my life. You know, and like I said, this young woman worked for me when we were trying to get her into recovery. And so that was just a really heartfelt moment as well. So that was just absolutely an awesome experience all the way around. Sarah had given me an orb for Christmas last year, and one photo that was really important to me to get was a picture of me holding the orb, which contains Naomi's ashes, with my 3 kids who are still here, as a way of just signifying that Naomi is still a part of her family and always will be. So that was really important, and we were able to get that photo too. Plus another beautiful photo of just me holding the orb. So I'll put those up too. My boys and my ex-husband, and I don't know, maybe his wife, were a bit taken aback when Sarah looked at me and said, "Mom, did you bring your orb?" And my son told me later that, you know, that kind of freaked him out a little bit. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, son, you know, unfortunately that moment was about me and not about you." So, yeah, so that's important. Like I said, Sarah knows my grief. She knows how to how to honor it, and that makes it easier for me. I'm very blessed to have her support. The boys have been supportive too, but I think the boys just don't understand me as well as Sarah does. So that was really a significant thing that our family was able to do in getting those portraits taken. Another very significant thing happened in that it's a really long story, but my grandson Wyatt, the 14-year-old grandson that lives here with me, his birth father, who at one point the state of California revoked his rights, had never really been a part of Wyatt's life ever. And so Wyatt didn't know him, didn't know who he was. And his birth father has, let's see, 6 other children. So Wyatt has 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Unfortunately, there are all those children there have, I want to say 5 different mothers. Yeah, I think 2 of them. Well, let me think. Yeah, there's 7 of them all together, and only 2 of them were born to the same woman. So Wyatt did not know any of his siblings. And I don't know, after Naomi died, the mothers of those kids started contacting us via Facebook and things like that, and wanting to have Wyatt meet his siblings. But Wyatt had been through so much and was still so young, and just having lost his mother, and had just been adopted by Sarah and James, and, you know, just all of that. We just didn't feel that the time was right, and, you know, we decided that that would be something we would talk about Wyatt when he was a bit older, and, you know, just kind of go from there. So when Sarah realized that we were all going to be there all together, you know, all of us, you know, Wyatt's 2 uncles, Sarah and James, who are his adoptive parents, me, she decided that it might be a good time to, and, you know, Wyatt's 14 now, she decided it would be a good time to allow Wyatt to decide if he wanted to meet his siblings, as well as if he wanted to be able to meet his birth father and his paternal grandmother. And so Sarah set it up with the moms, to, you know, being sure to let them know that we were going to talk to Wyatt about it, but ultimately it was his decision. And if he felt like it was just going to be too much for him, then it wasn't going to happen. We also let them know, and Sarah also set up with the grandmother and his birth father for them to be able to meet Wyatt for breakfast, separate from when he was going to meet his siblings, because we just didn't want it to be too overwhelming, didn't want any drama with all of these different moms or anything like that. But she had told everybody that, you know, unfortunately we were coming to Washington State, and, you know, we weren't going to be able to drive all over the place with Wyatt. So if they did want to, you know, meet with him, that it would have to be all in one place, a place of our choosing, and they would have to come to us. So she set it up, and then we sat Wyatt down and asked him if he wanted to do that. And he said he did. He said he wanted to meet the siblings. He took like an extra day to think about whether or not he wanted to meet with his birth father and grandmother, but he ultimately decided he did. So Sarah set it up so that we would all meet at a park with all the kids, all his brothers and sisters, and then the next day would meet at a restaurant with his birth father his paternal grandmother and Wyatt's oldest brother to go, just almost to kind of act as a buffer, you know, and just facilitate, you know, keeping the conversation going and things like that. What was I going to say? I don't know. So Wyatt, you know, decided he was willing to do that, and we did tell him in regards to the grandmother and the father that, you know, to keep his expectations in line, that even though we had set this up, that there was some possibility that they would not come. So we did meet with all the siblings, got all the siblings together on a Saturday. Hang on, I need a sip of coffee. It was absolutely wonderful. The oldest of the boys is 18, just graduated from high school, seems to be a really good kid. He very much so, you know, played the younger brother, or sorry, the older brother, and kind of, you know, watched out for the little ones, kind of pulled them all together. Most of these kids had never met each other. None of them had met Wyatt. Well, the oldest had been around, he was 2 when Wyatt was born, so he had seen Wyatt then, but I mean, you know, hadn't for years. So, you know, they were, the older brother was wonderful with them. Wyatt did very well, you know, as far as managing his stress, because Wyatt has very, very severe anxiety and post-traumatic stress issues just from everything that he's been through, unfortunately, because of, you know, choices that Naomi made, and just, you know, losing his mom. So, but he did really, really well. The kids had a good time. They all got along. It was really, really wonderful and really, really significant. It's something that we're really glad we did. So that was a very positive thing. Then, actually, that all happened on a Saturday, and I think we were supposed to be meeting Dad and Grandma at the restaurant on a Monday, so a couple days later. So Sarah, you know, had contacted him before we went to Washington, told them, you know, when and where we could meet, and started, you know, trying to contact them again on Saturday, and unfortunately did not hear from either one of them, even though over the years they have, you know, accused us of keeping Wyatt away from them, and, you know, tried to, even though the court had revoked Dad's rights, and as far as grandmother, because of some stuff that happened when Wyatt was littler, she could see him only with supervision, and that's me being present. So even though they have complained about that, and, you know, really basically had no rights, but had accused us of all kinds of horrible things, you know, as far as like keeping Wyatt away from them, you know, they chose not to show up. Wyatt was not too upset about it, because we had told him to, you know, keep his expectations low, that it may not end up happening. You know, we didn't say anything bad about them not showing. It's important to me that we don't do that to Wyatt, because, you know, at some point in his life, Wyatt will have to make his own choices about, you know, his family and what kind of role he wants to have them to have in his life. That's not for us to decide. So that was unfortunate, but, you know, everything happens the way it's supposed to. So that's how that was. So I'm really glad that we got to do that. You know, the older kids, there's the 18-year-old, there's Wyatt, who's 14, and then I think there's a 12-year-old, and then the other kids are quite a bit younger. There's a maybe 9-year-old, 5-year-old, and there was and actually this sibling wasn't there. There's a brand new baby, little girl that was just born, a few weeks ago. So she wasn't there. I don't think she'd even been born yet. And then unfortunately there's one child that had been taken into the system. So that's kind of the story of that. But the older kids, the older boys, they all exchanged phone numbers, and we had contact with the mothers for years. I mean, since Naomi had died, and we had had added them on Facebook so that they could kind of watch Wyatt grow up from afar until we were ready to let Wyatt make that decision about whether or not he wanted to meet his siblings. If when he was ready, we knew he would be ready at some point. So hopefully some of those family connections will continue to flourish. We can always hope. So it was really cute when we got home. It's Wyatt's been living here with me since April, and it's been I've said before, it's been an adjustment. But he was so happy when we got home after 9 days. He was absolutely beaming when we got home that night. He was so glad to be home. He kept saying, "Grandma, I'm so glad to be home. I'm so glad to have my own bed." And he was even beaming the next day. So I'm really, as much as this kid has been through, I am just really, really glad that I'm doing something right. Even though, like I said, it's an adjustment for both of us. He's a teenager. This is a very small apartment. But, I'm doing something right. So that was really nice to see. So that was another very significant thing we did while on vacation. The only really kind of outing things of any type we did is we did take I didn't. I stayed home while they took the kids on a hike in the woods. They all really had a good time with that. The only thing really that I did is we did go visit my brother and his family, and my sister and her family. I'll try to put some pictures of that up here at the end as well. That was really nice. And then one night, my daughter, my daughter-in-law, two of my best friends in the world, we all went to play bingo at the bingo hall. It was set up for people to be able to social distance. Everybody wore masks. There were hand sanitizer stations everywhere. The bingo tables actually had an entire large table, and only one person could sit at it. They had tape with big X's taping off the other spots so that only one person could sit at a table. So everybody was completely social distanced. And so that was the one time we went out and, did anything. The photos that we had taken were taken at a local park, so we were able to social distance there. I tell you something, being in the airports was really kind of strange. I don't know if it's this way still. I'm sure it is, because here in California, our sort of return to normal has been rolled back because cases are increasing so much. But in June, when we were there, the flights were booked at, I think, 60%. So the planes weren't very full. We were able to sit in the back of the plane, with our whole family and not really have anybody with us. Again, everybody in the airport seemed to be doing the best they could to social distance, keeping 6 feet between them. Again, hand sanitizing stations everywhere, everybody in masks. So didn't take more than a couple of minutes to get through security because the lines were shorter. So yeah, just really not what I would call normal as far as like, you know, what airport travel here in California used to be like. So let's see what else. So yeah, that was pretty much the highlights. And the thing that was so nice is when we had the kids together 4 years ago, they were all so small that, you know, they played and fought over toys and cried a lot, and it was kind of a stressful trip. But this time, those kids are older. You know, Wyatt's 14, Olivia's 7, almost 8, or no, she's 8, almost 9. I keep calling her 7, I don't know why. Ella just turned 7. Ava's 5. Gabe and, not Gabe, Grayson and Elliot, the twins, are 4. No, wait. They're 5. They're 5. Ava's 4. And Gabe's 2. So the kids were able to just really, really play together, and you could see those cousin bonds starting to form, and, you know, hug all over each other. And they're old enough now to realize, you know, sort of the significance of what their relationship is to each other. So yeah, it was really awesome. So I told you about my fiasco at the start of my trip. I told you about my fiasco with the dogs eating my diamond painting. So my trip kind of ended in a similar fashion. On the day we were leaving, I was packing my stuff up I had been sleeping on a blow-up mattress in my son's, or my daughter-in-law actually, in her, you know, little office. And she had a shelf up on the wall with some decorative items and her printer. And I was picking something up off the desk that was below it and brought my hand up a little bit too high and hit that shelf, and the entire thing came tumbling down at me. And thank God I was right there and close enough to be able to catch the printer, which was the most expensive item on that shelf, but everything else fell. Some things broke, including a sort of commemorative little statue thing from her graduation. So I felt horrible. It's like first time in their new house, and I'm tearing the place down. Thankfully, my son and my daughter-in-law were very gracious about it, but, you know, that's just kind of the way my trip went. I think I've said this to you guys before, but I don't like to travel. I like to be places, but traveling itself makes me very anxious. The day of traveling, I am always just in a almost constant, usually the day of and maybe even the day before, I'm just in a constant state of really bad anxiety attacks. So, you know, I think because of that, stuff like this just happens to me. So I don't know what I could do to, you know, possibly like make stuff like that stop happening to me. I should do a video sometime and just tell you guys about all my different vacation mishaps. I mean, there have been a lot of them. I'm not a good traveler. Let's just put it that way. But I'm very glad I got this vacation. It was very much needed. Of course, I came back, and for my day job at the treatment center where I'm a file auditor, with weekends and all of that, by the time we got back, I was a total of 12 days behind. And it took me until just this last Friday to finally get all of those files and all of those things caught up. So it was, you know, quite a bit of work. So I'm glad to finally have that all behind me. And, you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the next vacation. So I'm very glad I got to do it. Very glad I got to be with my kids and my grandkids. And very glad that I got to tell you guys all about it. So I think at that point, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Thanks for watching, you guys. There should be some really exciting stuff coming up on my channel real soon. I may do a channel update video with some hints and stuff about some stuff I got planned for this fall and holiday season. So be watching out for that. As always, if you're new here, would love to have you subscribe to my channel. If you're a regular, thanks so much for coming back. And before I let you go, I just want to remind you that you can change lives one drill at a time, even if it's just your own, because when you change your life, the entire world around you is going to start to change. Don't forget to watch for those photos coming up next. Thanks for watching, you guys. Bye.